We are live. Welcome back to the Powerful Pod. Thank you all so much for joining. My name is Haley.
I'm Dylan.
And today we're going to go over question and answer and all things related to puppy. And we have a lot to talk about today. You can find me on Instagram and YouTube. My Instagram is just Powerful Hippie. I'm trying to upload weekly podcast episodes. And just wanted to remind you that today's episode is sponsored by Redcon One Supplements. You can save 20% off. Yes, wear the t-shirt. We wear the t-shirt to support. You can save 20% off on all Redcon One supplements, apparel, and more by using my discount code. Just to let you know, too, Redcon One was ranked #1 as Vitamin Shopp's brand of the year in 2019 and is available in over 80 countries. Right now, my favorite product is the Vanilla Shake MRE Light Whole Foods Protein. I love it in smoothies, in yogurt bowls. They have a ton of different flavors too. What's your favorite flavor?
Straight chocolate.
Chocolate. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're kind of like chocolate and vanilla, but they have so many different flavors. Again, you can use my discount code Powerful Hippie at checkout, all together, one word, and I'll put the link in the description as well. Are you excited to get into it today?
Yeah, what's the first topic?
Well, I think we should really quickly address the fact that we went viral.
How many views do we have now?
We have over 530,000 views. And
all thanks to ChatGPT.
Yeah, I know. Like, what's really frustrating to that whole thing is that it wasn't really me. Like, I've been putting out content and I've been uploading on Instagram regularly for over 10 years.
You think it'll hit 1 million?
I don't think it'll hit 1 million, but it's still getting traffic. It's been almost 2.5 weeks.
I think it could.
You think it could hit 1 million?
I don't know.
Well,
we'll see.
I don't care, but it's just kind of cool that I went viral and you went viral and we did it together.
You made me a collaborator later on.
I did make you a collaborator, but the only reason that we went viral at all was because I saw a video someone else post, the ChatGPT, what you would look like if you get older and don't work out and whatever. And I thought that was funny, so I did the same thing. I asked ChatGPT to do that too, and it just happened to be that our transformation was so bad.
We looked like the average American, I think.
And I guess people, and it has over 6,000 sends.
I read something lately that said it'll be extremely rare to have a fit body in 20 or 30 years, just because laziness has become so prevalent.
Yeah, I think that's sad. I hope that's not true, because we have so many opportunities for working out and to be better versions of ourselves, So anyway, thank you for everybody who liked and commented on our reel, made it popular. It's crazy. The second topic, I guess, or really the first one, the newest one, is Liver King. And how long have we been following Liver King? At least 2 or 3 years, right?
I'd say about 2 years.
About 2 or 3 years. But
it's right after Tiger King, I think.
Oh yeah, there was Tiger
Both
King.
Kings.
There was Tiger King and then there was Liver King. That's crazy. But unfortunately, lately, Liver King was arrested last Tuesday. And this whole thing is so weird. So I'm just going to read this really fast and then we got to talk about this, okay? He was arrested last Tuesday for posting threatening messages against Joe Rogan, the podcaster, right? Austin, Texas police said in a statement that they arrested Brian Johnson, aka Liver King, after they learned that he was traveling to Austin, where Joe Rogan lives, and threatening Rogan in a series of videos that he posted on Instagram. And those videos, by the way, have been taken down. I think they were on his Instagram story. But Liver King said, and I quote, "Joe Rogan, I'm calling you out. My name's Liver King, man to man. I'm picking a fight with you." And he said that on a video that he posted Monday. He said, "I have no training in jiu-jitsu. You're a black belt. You should dismantle me, but I'm picking a fight with you. Your rules. I'll come to you whenever you're ready."
I just looked something up. Brian Johnson's the same name as the other guy who's the anti-aging guy who spends millions on the...
I know. They have the same name.
Yeah. I was just making sure.
No. It is. His name is Brian Johnson as well, Liver King. Police were so concerned about the videos that they contacted Joe Rogan on Tuesday And Joe Rogan said that he had never previously interacted with Liver King and considered the post to be threatening. So later that day, Liver King was apprehended at the Four Seasons Hotel and charged with
Pricey,
terroristic
right?
threat.
Four
Yeah,
Seasons.
I mean he has money. We'll get into that. But he was charged with a Class B misdemeanor, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird. The whole thing is so weird because I had to look into it. And by the way, all of this came from NBC and the New Yorker as my references. But Brian Johnson, Liver King, aka Liver King, he's never been a guest on Joe Rogan's podcast, which I don't know if that was his issue. But apparently, Joe Rogan back in 2023 referenced Liver King's whole saga on steroid use and
He's pretty popular. He has a lot of followers on Instagram.
Liver King?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he's so popular, but he and Joe Rogan never like actually interacted.
Okay.
So that's the weird part. It's like all of a sudden, Joe Rogan, 2 years after Joe Rogan mentioned him on his
I'm
podcast.
saying I'm not surprised that Joe Rogan like brought him up because he's, someone
Yeah.
that he would talk about.
But
on
that
the
was
show.
in 2023.
Yeah.
So this is like 2 years later, all of a sudden,
This is like
calling
another
him out.
initiative. I don't think it has to do with what he said about him on the show.
I don't
Did he
think
say
so
something
either.
negative about Liver King on
Yeah.
the show?
I mean, I have to go back and listen to Joe Rogan's podcast, but in 2023, he brought up the whole when Liver King said he was just living an ancestral life, and then all of a sudden he was like, "No, JK, I'm using steroids."
Oh yeah.
So
okay.
he did bring that up, but the New Yorker post said that the 47-year-old Liver King was released on a $20,000 bond after his arrest. And like the whole thing I don't understand is if this was just for publicity and maybe $20,000 is nothing to Liver King, but he was in jail and this is going to be like on his criminal record and he had to pay $20,000. So what I don't understand is if this is real or not, because if this is not real, to me, totally not worth it. Like he's totally, in my opinion,
I think
pulling
there's
a Kanye
still
West.
a chance it's not real.
Well, then why did he wanted to get arrested? Like that's worth it to him?
It's like one day for all this talk about him. He hasn't talked about like this in a while.
Well, I know because I mean he's still very.
There's people that think that Trump's assassination attempt was like faked. I think this is way more believable to be fake than something like that.
I don't know, man.
You know what I'm saying?
I guess we can't believe everything in the media, and I know fake news versus whatever mainstream media, and everything's like all nobody believes anything anymore because AI is so prevalent too. But I just don't understand why Liver King would want to besmirch himself even more after the whole I was never using steroids, but just kidding, I've been on steroids for years. Like I don't as a communication specialist, personally, this is a horrible way to get attention. Like because you're just going to always be negatively associated with even if you do cool stuff, even if you do positive stuff. It's multiple negative attempts, in my opinion. I don't think the payout's worth it. And by the way, he had a lot of money before the whole Liver King stuff. Like he had his own business, like the supplement business.
Yeah. I still think it was, if you just look at it from a monetary standpoint, I think there's still a benefit to it. Yeah.
I guess.
Like Kanye.
Well, now he's just yay, right?
Yeah.
Anywho.
When you get talked about, you make money, I think.
I guess so. Do you have any more things you want to add into the Liver King?
Not really. Do you think his abs are real? Or do you think they're...
Oh, like implants? Because I know that was a whole thing. I mean...
It's a real thing to get implants like that.
I have to look at his abs again, but
that's the actual surgery.
They look real. And he's very muscular all over the place otherwise. And he does work out hard. But like also, I did hear on Mark Bell's podcast that he actually went to his ranch in Houston, Texas and hung out with Liver King and said that he eats a lot of like not junk food, but a lot of carbs, not necessarily just meat. And he was eating more like waffles and French toast and oatmeal than like bull testicles, which is one of the things that Liver King, I mean, I know that that's maybe a persona and he's using that to sell his supplements, which is like the Primal Life supplements. But I don't know, man. I wish he would be more authentic and just be honest. I think he would get more attention, positively if he was just like that. And like, I don't care if you're taking steroids. You don't even have to tell anybody about it. But if people ask you, don't blatantly lie, I guess.
Yeah, it needs to be more like Michael Hearn, tell the truth.
Does Michael Hearn tell the truth? I feel like he does, actually. He does on Instagram. He kind of trolls people.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
He's known as a natty on Instagram, but
Half fake natty, half natty. All right, we won't we don't want to ruffle too many feathers. So you want to talk about what people have been asking us about puppy, all things puppy?
sure. What was the first question?
Well, it's really not a question, but I wanted to just bring up things we learned really fast, and we've only had a puppy for a couple months.
My hands are pretty effed up from her teeth.
Yeah, she's teething right now. She's getting new teeth, so she's just like teething on everything. But the first thing I wanted to bring up is budget, because I had no idea, especially when it comes to the vet, that like the first couple of visits, even like the first one, is going to be over $100 for shots and checkup. And what I think is crazy is they charge $7 for a poop disposal fee when they asked you to bring in the poop. And I guess that's just what they do. But like, yeah, you got to pay for stuff. So
It's almost like there's an oil disposal fee when you get an oil change. So they
exactly
have to pay for the hazardous waste. I guess it's like similar to that, but
it is. But
it doesn't have to be. They're definitely profiting off it. I'm not saying that.
I just wish they would have told me before that. Like, they didn't tell me until I got an itemized bill.
Yeah.
But like buying food, snacks, toys, pee pads, shampoo, toothpaste, harness, collar, leash, everything. I mean, besides obviously if you buy a puppy versus if you adopt it, you have to pay for that. But just know that you probably want to have an extra $300 on the side for the first month at least when it comes to vet and stuff, depending on how old they are.
And that's if there's no major issues.
Yeah, that's if they're healthy and they don't have issues, because if they have like worms or something crazy, like that's something else you probably have to deal with. Do you have anything else to add on the budget side?
It's like if you need to plan ahead for sure. Don't go into this broke.
Just have more money saved up than you think you're gonna need.
It's like a quarter of a kid, I would say, or so.
Literally. And the second one for me is really time, because the first week we got her, I'll say the first like 3 weeks we got her, she wasn't sleeping through the night. So one of us would have to wake up and take her out to go potty. And so you, at least once or twice a night. So you need to be able to do that. And just know that if you have a full-time job, which we both do, you're going to be tired. So they do require a lot of energy, frequent playtime with toys. We got to take her on walks. You have to feed her, take her out, and potty training. If they don't go out every like 45 minutes, you're going to find an accident in your house.
Well, maybe 2 hours, but
I mean, if she's in her crate, she's fine. But I feel like if she's just in the house playing around, she's gonna potty somewhere.
Places they sleep, they tend not to go, right?
She doesn't really. I don't think she's ever really had an accident in her crate, not for a long time. But I mean, I spend 30 minutes a day just training, just doing like command training, and like that's a lot of extra time.
She goes to the door now when she has to. Yeah, she has to go.
I've taught her that she needs to go to the door if she has to go potty.
I'm proud of you for training her. You've done a good job.
Thank you. You do a great job too. We both work really hard. I mean, I'm so glad that I have you, because it's a joint effort. Like, I couldn't imagine, quote unquote, being a single puppy parent, because it's a lot of work, especially when you work a full-time job.
I thank Prudence for improving my pain tolerance for all the bites I've accepted from her.
We don't know when she's going to get hyper. That's the only thing that I'm struggling kind of with right now, because that's what I was going to say. She's teething a lot. So what I've learned in the last couple of months is do not buy new shoes, new furniture, new rugs, or anything like that, because it's a high chance that it's going to get destroyed or messed up with. Like, and they do need a lot of constant attention when they're up. Like, you don't just want to leave them alone.
Yeah.
Because they'll get into stuff. She loves your phone charger.
She likes biting doors too, so
doors.
If you rent a place, you might have to pay some fees when you move out, unless you get that fixed.
That's a good thing. I would say training consistently is really important, and like consistency with her, taking her out consistently so she doesn't have a potty in the house. Disobeying, if she disobeys us, like put her in her crate or punish her. I don't.
She doesn't react to any kind of like hitting or bumping on the nose or anything like that, because she thinks you're playing with her, and it actually stirs her even more. So it's better to just grab her and talk to her, but make sure she can't move and bite you while you're doing it.
Yeah, she Because we were told like to kind of put pressure on her nose to get to her to stop biting.
Mm-hmm. It didn't really work.
It didn't really. It worked a little bit at first, but then after a while, yeah, she just was like, "Oh, you
Same with
want to
the
play?"
yelp, the loud yelp. If you act like you're a dog getting bit, which is what the puppies do, if you yelp when they're biting you, it's supposed to stop them from biting. It worked a couple times, and then she got smarter.
Yeah, I don't think it just riles her up now.
Yeah.
So
Q&A?
anyway, yeah. Do you have any more things you want to add to the puppy?
No, I love her.
We love her, obviously, but puppies are like babies. If you don't invest in them and if you don't want to parent, it's just gonna be a lot more challenging.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to go in there with the mindset that you want to be the best version of your parent. I think it's taught us a lot about our parenting styles, though. We're both pretty strict. I'd say we're not like, oh, whatever, we'll do it later. Like we can't just let it ride out. All right, so let's get to the Q&A because we have a lot of questions I want to get to. The first one is, why is gymflation such a thing?
Please define gymflation.
Good one, Dylan. Gymflation is basically inflating your ego inside and outside of the gym. So, especially lying on social media. So, if you're like going for a 315 bench and you hit it for 1 rep, but then putting on social media that you got it for 4, or always going for 405 deadlift when you really comfortably shouldn't go for more than like 350, always kind of overreaching your goals and basically lying about how much you can do at the gym. So why is gymflation such a thing? My original thing is because social media. Because
Oh
again,
yeah, 100%.
just like AI, when you inflate anything, like our stupid fake AI video, it makes people say, "Oh, that's awful. That's crazy." So, yeah, you get more views, you get more clickbait. So, when
Yeah,
you lie,
it's all it is clickbait.
yeah, I think side note with AI, everyone's like, "Oh, AI is going to destroy the world." Yes and no, because I actually think it's going to make more authentic people like us, or more authentic people who are trying to be real people and not lie and not try to just get attention, make it more popular because they're special. They're not trying to like lie about who they are or what they're bringing to the table or how strong or ripped they are. They're just real people. I don't know.
Yeah, video speaks 1,000 words when it comes to lifts.
I mean, I've seen people lie. It's none of my business to tell them that they're doing things wrong or incorrect, especially at the gym.
The worst thing is the juice thing, especially when you're not joking and like people are being serious, and then you have young people idolize those people and they think they could actually look like that without doing drugs, and it's unrealistic.
Yeah, I think
So
that's going to go into our second question.
it hurts people's egos, and then they becomes a whole mental gymnastics when it comes to the gym. I think
So, do you want to get in second question since it's like that?
I didn't
Basically,
read it.
I'll read it.
Yeah.
Why is steroid use becoming normalized and praised? Do you want to take the first one? You want me to go in?
I kind of answered it a little bit. I think because in order to achieve the physiques that people see online, which a lot of it is edited or even it's 100% AI. I've seen a lot of that.
Yeah, me too.
But even then, these are like 100% perfect angles with like sometimes like oil lighting, this, that, and the other, plus filters. Like it's really unrealistic. Like people should just strive to be healthy, and maybe if they have a certain gym goal, do good in that. But you don't have to do drugs
No.
to be great.
Heck yeah. I mean, obviously, steroids have been around for a long time. So I don't think they're becoming more normalized. I just think now with social media and the prevalence of people in bodybuilding and powerlifting and anything for aesthetics, people are seeing that more. So it's not necessarily that they're becoming more normalized. It's just that they've always been there, but now they're on social media more and you're seeing it more. And just like the clickbait thing, when you see it more, it's more interesting and it becomes more mainstream. I don't think steroid use is being praised per se. It shouldn't be. If you're a young, especially with, I'm sorry to put this in a boat, tell me if I'm wrong. This is just what I've seen, just what I've heard. If you are a young man thinking that steroids are the answer and that's all you need to do to become popular and strong and aesthetically pleasing. So now it's like, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to become amazing. Bro, that's why I've never thought about it, because there are side effects to everything and I don't want to have any of those side effects.
If you know your potential as like a bodybuilder and you think it's like going to be your career, I totally get that, because it's necessary to be,
The best.
yeah, to be
Competitive, I guess.
competitive. Yeah.
As a yeah.
Top 20 in the world or whatever,
Yeah.
however you want to call it. But in terms of recreational without a end goal in mind, and just to look better and have better pictures for Instagram, get more followers, which feeds into the whole loop of new people taking the place of the current people who these new Gen Z are idolizing. They're going to take their place, and it's going to just be this never-ending cycle, I think.
I think the people that have been in fitness for 20 years, like Michael Hearn or whatever, that are just amazing. They've been doing it for so long, though. Like, it's hard work. Steroids don't just do it for you. You got to work hard. So now these younger people are wanting to be up there, and they think that the missing piece is that, well, guess what? You still got to put in the work. No drug, no diet's going to do that for you. So I don't think anything should be praised, because caution, they're drugs. Like, in most times they're illegal unless you have a practitioner prescribing it to you and like you need it for testosterone replacement therapy or something like that. It shouldn't be praised.
Yeah, and there's levels to it. It's big difference between doing TRT or even just testosterone in a high dose versus something like growth hormone or insulin trend. I don't know.
And that's all different than like peptides. So
yeah, no, it's peptides.
Everything's just different. I think obviously do your own research, educate yourself, but talk to people who are doctors and who are knowledgeable, because it's just not something anyone should ever take lightly. There are side effects and repercussions.
Same thing with SARMs too.
Anything that's like
there's nothing different that doesn't have side effects
and impacts your hormones. Like, I think it's crazy that people just think it's okay to take them now. That's the thing. I guess that's what he's saying. He's asking, like, they're becoming so normalized and praise, like, if you don't do that, you're never going to reach any kinds of goals. And we're here to tell you, like, F that. Like, you can definitely reach your goals without steroids. 1,000%.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Unless you want to be Mr. Olympia.
Well, yeah. That should be a whole podcast in itself. All right. The third question says, what is one workout or exercise that you refuse to do? Mine's burpees. I just don't see a point.
I didn't even come up with mine.
That's okay. I mean, it could be a workout routine or exercise. I know a lot of people hate Bulgarian split squats, but I think they are great for coordination and flexibility and range of motion. I think
I'm pretty open to all exercises except anything that is a high risk of injury, because to do an exercise once, it's you got to think about the return on it, and if there's too much potential for injury, it's not worth it. I'm not talking about like deadlifts or something, but a lot of these CrossFit exercises where they stand on a ball while doing some kind of weight exercise.
I hate when they do like the kip up pull-ups, because I feel like you're gonna hurt your shoulder. I mean, my rotator cuff, like,
not to mention you're not really engaging a whole ton of muscle.
No, so
versus a pull-up.
It's just for clout. I don't know. And we're not hating on CrossFit. There are a lot of amazing
it counts
movements,
in that, so I get it training
counts.
for it,
but at what risk? CrossFit has a really high injury percentage, and that's why a lot of people crash out.
I like the idea of CrossFit, but some of those exercises are just stupid.
Yeah, they need to be modified.
Because I do agree that the top CrossFit athletes are the most fit people on earth.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, that they have to be, because they have to deadlift max weight and run miles and miles.
Yeah. Kipping, I don't agree with.
No, we don't. The next question, which I've really thought about this question, because this is the one that really interested me the most. Are you both completely done with powerlifting? I'll go.
I don't think I'll compete again.
You don't think you're ever going to compete again? Not even in bench only?
Maybe over, like, what's the
push pull?
The old class called elderly class, over 55,
Masters?
65. Yeah,
Masters. I think you could do great in Masters one day.
Thanks.
Um, I'll say no. I'm not completely done in powerlifting because I have powerlifting goals and I want to compete. I think again at least, but I don't really care about squats so much because I feel like just what you said, a high injury rate, and it's just not my favorite lift anymore as I've gotten older, which makes me feel really old to say out loud. But I want a 405 deadlift. I was really close. My max was 375 in competition, and I want more than 225 in competition for bench because I love bench pressing. That's like my freak lift.
Mm-hmm.
Deadlift and squat have just never been my freak lift, but bench I've always been pretty good at, and I love training upper body. But it's not my main priority right now. I want to do bodybuilding and see where that takes me. So
I think you'll do 225 one day.
I've gotten really, really, really close in competition. I hit 220.
That's really good.
So that's pretty close. But I don't want to say never. But for right now, I'm not powerlifting. For right now, we're both not.
Yeah, maybe
But
in masters.
I still do powerlifting movements though. I still squat variation. I still deadlift variation. Even with the barbell, Romanian deadlift still counts. When it comes to food choices, the next question, how do you stay locked in on your diet? Well,
Are you gonna answer first?
yeah, you want me to answer first?
Yeah.
You okay. For me specifically, diet, I have to mix up or else it gets really boring and monotonous. And then I just won't adhere to it. It's just like working out. If I don't always enjoy it, it's just going to be something that I'm not going to do because it's just awful. And that's, you're going to take that away from you. But that's like in general. If I decide I want to do bodybuilding or powerlifting or anything and I have to adhere to a strict diet plan or workout plan, you just got to do it. It's not fun all the times, and sometimes things that are worth it are not fun. Like getting my master's degree. Did I want to do homework every single night after work? No, but I had to do it to get it done. So I personally know that when I want to do something, even if it's not fun, you just have to stick with it for a while. Not forever, but maybe for 3 to 4 months. And I think mixing it up for me is really important for diet. So like meal frequency, changing it up instead of like 1 or 2 meals a day, doing 3 or 4, trying to see where meal timing's the best, what you like to eat that's within your calories. I like to mix up my proteins a lot and not eat the same animal protein all the time. And I have staples. Like I love rice, so I'll eat rice. I like fruit, so I'll eat fruit. But if you have a certain goal, you just have to lock in. Like there's no other way to say it. It's not fun, but find how you can make consistency fun. That's my
Mm-hmm.
biggest advice. Do you agree?
Yeah, I'd say find 10 meals or so that you like that is healthy so that you enjoy what you're eating. You don't have to eat plain food to eat healthy. One app that's really good to test like ingredients is Yuka, Yuka. It gives a rating from 0 to 100 on whether it's healthy or not.
It's quality.
Yeah, it includes uh, factors such as if there's high level of pesticide, organic or not, that kind of thing. Like, what's the other thing it looks at? Like high risk, medium risk, low
Yeah.
risk of ingredients.
Of different types of ingredients and different additives and preservatives.
Yeah, it goes beyond macros. In other words.
Yeah, it's beyond macros. It's showing you the breakdown of everything, especially if it's not like just a banana.
Yeah.
That's okay if it's not organic, but we're talking about more where there's tons of ingredients that you don't even know what they are. It
So,
explains it for you.
in conclusion, like everyone knows what's healthy and what's not. I mean, they have the internet, and people just know when they're eating ice cream or just a carb with no protein that it's not the best. So, like people know what to eat. It's just a matter of doing it and getting consistent with it and making sure that you enjoy it. So.
I think another thing too is that you just have to make goals for yourself. If you're not bodybuilding or if there's no reason to diet, then just try to eat what you can enjoy. Eat
Mm-hmm.
certain things in moderation. Don't have too much alcohol. But if you are planning on doing bodybuilding or you need to cut weight for your health or change up your diet for your health, just know that no, it might not be fun in the short term, but in the long term, it's going to really pay off for you because, again, it's not easy at first, but after a while, you build habits and then it becomes easier. So That's my advice. Diet is a whole thing. We could get into diet, man.
A good book is called The Compounding Effect. It just shows how these little decisions make a difference over time. So, I mean, you don't have to read the book, but just if you look
In
into
general.
compounding in general, it's just, it's known as the eighth wonder of the world in many different industries, including health and fitness. So, every decision makes a difference. Don't think that it doesn't because it adds up over time.
So moderation, but you can still, yeah, change your diet and all that jazz. Okay, the next one's completely different, but any travel plans?
We're going on a cruise in August
Going on a cruise.
to Mexico.
I've never been to Mexico or on a cruise.
Same.
You
Well, I haven't been
went
on a cruise.
Mexico,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Where did you go in Mexico?
It was like family vacations. We've been to Cancun a few times.
Yeah. Other than that, just we want to go different places. Eventually, I want to go to California to visit friends,
Mm-hmm.
maybe some family here and there. I want to go to Europe. We've been dying to go to Europe for years.
Italy.
Italy. I want to go to England. I want to go to Liverpool. I'm a huge Beatles fan. Obviously, if you can't see my, oh, there they are, the Beatles. Um, but and I want to go to New York City. I mean, I have so many things that I want to do, but it's a lot of energy, a
Can't
lot of
be
money,
can't be working for
a
all
lot
those
of time.
travel
Yeah, you got to
plans.
take off work, PTO, figure out your dog situation. So, yes, we have some travel plans, but nothing crazy. I want to go back to North Carolina though. I feel like North Carolina is so beautiful and I would just like to explore it a lot more.
Yeah, I haven't been to the West too much, but I think the nature would probably be the best part of going to like state like Oregon, Washington, and then just seeing parts of California. But there's just so much on the East Coast, I think. So
There's so much everywhere.
yeah.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I want to go to the Grand Canyon.
Mm-hmm.
I see. I have a basket list, not a bucket list. It's like the same thing.
The
It's a
hell is the
long story.
difference?
So the movie The Bucket. You pick the
Yeah.
bucket. I just thought that was so. When I was little, I thought that was so depressing. So I said, let's have a basket where you carry around your basket. I don't know. Little girl being positive.
Okay.
So I still have a basket list. I say for
Cute.
traveling stuff. All right. The last question is a great question to end on because we both have struggled with this. Like, we love the gym, but we've struggled. Okay. The last question says, what tips would you give someone struggling mentally, and especially if getting to the gym is hard?
So someone struggling mentally and getting to the gym is hard. So is this two different issues we're talking about here? Or getting to the gym is
So,
hard due to
yeah, I think that they're struggling not going to the gym because maybe mentally don't have motivation or they don't have anyone supporting them or in their corner all the time. So it's hard to find that like intrinsic motivation.
yeah.
I think that's what it means.
Okay.
So my biggest tip again is if struggling go to the gym is really hard, then maybe, and this is going to probably like be different answer than you're expecting, but maybe don't go to the gym. Maybe find another way to get a form of activity in. Maybe that's going to fitness classes or even rock climbing, like rock climbing gyms or dance classes, yoga, Pilates, anything like that. Like maybe hiking, joining a running club, trying something different. Like the reason I chose bodybuilding right now is because I just want to do something different than powerlifting. I've been doing powerlifting for over 5 years. I'm not bored with it. I just wanted to try something differently. But like getting to the gym, here's my thing. When you are working a full time job, if you have a relationship and a house and a dog or a kid, all of these take so much time and energy and they can poop on your parade. So you have to figure out when can you make yourself a priority. We're not real parents yet, so we don't feel comfortable in giving advice on the parenting thing. But from my friends who have spoken to me about this, a lot of them say that they have to go to the gym first thing in the day to get it out of the way so that the whole day they can focus on their job, their family, their house, whatever they have to do. And that works for them. So you just got to find what really works for you. And if it's hard all the time, maybe ask yourself why. Is it because you don't like going to the gym or is it just getting to the gym? Maybe you can have a support system. Like if you have a partner or a friend, maybe they can go to the gym with you.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
think whenever I don't want to go to the gym and Haley's like, just go, you'll feel better when you're there and after. It's really true because once you start moving around and get blood flow, even if you have a headache, it makes your headache go away. Like there's so many benefits to it that people don't realize. And it doesn't even have to go to the gym, like Haley said. It depends on your goals. If your goal is to powerlift or bodybuild, obviously you need to do strength training. But if your goal is fitness and or even just performing exercise for the purpose of mental health or preventing migraines or headaches or just doing some form of exercise, you don't have to go to a gym.
Yeah.
You can even invest in like something like a sauna for $1,000, and oh, I just spent $1,000. I have to use it now. So now you're using the sauna 2-3 times a week.
Or the
So
walking
or a
pad.
walking pad is you can get a
I
walking pad for $150. I
I've
mean,
plugged the
it's
walking pad at least 3 times on this show because literally it
yeah.
has changed my life. When I was in graduate school and working, sometimes I couldn't get to the gym, and sometimes it was raining outside, or I had to do homework, but I also needed to work out. So I would
Mm-hmm.
do the walking pad, and I was able to do homework while doing that. So maybe you need a walking pad or a little bike. You can get stuff off of Facebook Marketplace and even Amazon. Like the walking pad we got was less than $150.
Yeah, if you don't want to leave your house, you could set up a room. And we didn't have the best luck doing strength training at home, but we found that doing cardio
Yep.
and sauna now, I love the sauna at home, is has been the most beneficial as an investment versus like investing in all these weights and barbells and stuff like that.
I think during COVID was hardest for me physically. And that was when I was starting to get back into powerlifting again. And that's when the gyms were closed. So we did have a home gym, but in Florida, just too hot. And I just didn't feel comfortable working out by myself in the garage. Because what if you
Yeah,
get injured, right? So do things that you know that you can do. But I think another thing that we haven't talked about is addressing your mental health. If you know that you have mental health, problems when it comes to physically moving, work with a therapist, work with someone to help you. Again, have a support system, even if it's just someone you text once a week. Hey, how's it going? How are your gym goals? Or join a running club or something. My friend joined a running club and she's in it all the time. And I think that having people, even maybe outside of your support system, is great too because they don't put so much pressure on you.
mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't want to tell a lot of people that I was doing bodybuilding because I don't know if I'm going to compete anytime soon. And that's a lot of pressure because you want to be perfect. You want to look the best. You want to win your competition. But just like powerlifting, that doesn't always happen.
Yeah,
And I know that. So I think when you're struggling mentally, that's one thing. But if you're also struggling to get to the gym, maybe move closer to the gym. Maybe say it's a reward. Maybe you go to the gym only if you can accomplish all the tasks for the day and like use that as a reward. Or maybe get it done in the first part of the day. Maybe just try to do something for 30 minutes. And I feel like whenever I try to do something for at least 30 minutes, it always turns into an hour, especially if I go to the gym because
yeah,
you're surrounded by people who want to better themselves. And that's motivating as hell. Like when I see anybody come into the gym, especially if they bring their kid and they're working out with their kid too, like that's so motivating because they're getting it done. And it's not always going to be that way. Like you're not always going to want to go to the gym, but like what Dylan said, if you have a headache, you don't feel great, it hardly ever makes it worse. Usually you feel better in
yeah,
general. You can sleep better, it helps your appetite. I just think in general just try it, but you don't have to go to the gym. You can do other things too to lose weight or to be physically active.
yeah. After reading this again, it seems like it could be a like a dopamine issue in regards to the motivation aspect. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because it takes a while um, to correlate the gym with the the dopamine rush that you get after you're there and after you leave.
Yeah.
But to go, you don't have that reward yet, and you
Yeah.
just think of the bad part of it.
But I'm
So
also thinking
it's
of
starting that
this.
cycle again.
I know, but I'm thinking of this question like at the end of a long day, after you've worked all day and cleaned the house and, played with your kids or your dogs,
Mm-hmm.
it's like 6 p.m. Like how do you want to leave your house and go to the gym? What would you say to somebody who said, "Oh, I can't make it every single day." What would you say?
I would say, would you rather suffer with the pain of regret or the pain of the act?
Yeah.
You
You
know,
really,
there's
you
a
really,
there's
I feel like you really need to give yourself permission to be selfish. And this is something that I forget to tell myself.
Mhm.
It's okay to be selfish. It's good to be selfish at least a few times a week when it comes to bettering your physical health. And I think you'll realize too that this will better your mental health. But I think you need to ask yourself the hard question of why do I not want to go to the gym? What's holding me back? And really answer those questions. Is it a timing issue? Okay, then give yourself just 45 minutes and just do the best you can. Is it the expectation to be the best powerlifter, bodybuilder, CrossFitter, whatever you're into? Because maybe you got to get rid of that expectation. I will tell you, when I was the strongest and I felt the best, I wasn't powerlifting. This was before I started even really powerlifting. And I just mean like getting into it. This was when I was at FSU, bodybuilding, quote unquote. So I feel like it does take time. Really establish your reason for why you don't want to go and try to find motivating factors and things that help you stay consistent. I think everything for all these questions pretty much is like consistency. Like
yeah,
you have to be consistent. And is it fun all the time? No. But that's why I'm trying to encourage people to realize that a little bit of sacrifice here and there is going to be for the better.
yeah, totally agree. I
So,
think yeah, a lot of this comes down to motivation and consistency, and yeah, there's a lot of like science. I don't know if you guys listen to Huberman Labs, but I see a lot of parallels here with things that he discusses on his podcast. And I don't want to go
oh,
into the science because
yeah. Sorry, you made me think of
I
something.
can't quote everything right now, but yeah, it's crazy how much a role dopamine plays in everything. So if you have some issues that you're struggling, whether it's like, well, it mostly does come down to like mental fortitude and like willingness to do stuff. Check out dopamine and its effects and how you can manipulate it through just like minor actions every day, sleep, and that kind of thing.
And supplements.
Supplements, yeah.
I was going to say the last thing because you said Huberman. Follow people on social media that I guess talk the talk, walk the walk. Follow
Mm-hmm.
people that do what you want to do in the fitness space or that are just motivating in general. Because I mean, how many people do we follow? Like
A
half
lot,
of the people that I follow
yeah.
are that on Instagram at
My
least.
favorites are Huberman, and then I like Mark Hyman too. Now a
I like
lot
Dr. Hyman. I followed Chris
smart guy.
Geffen, Dana Lynn Bailey, Rob Bailey, Mike O'Hearn, even Liver King. I mean, he is
Yeah,
kind of motivating sometimes.
I really only listen to like two, and that's the two I really kind of just
But
said.
Mark Bell's podcast is awesome.
Yeah,
So I feel like we absorb a lot of it because we want to learn, but you have to have the desire and you have to have the want. It's not always going to be there, but you do have to want it, right?
yeah, totally agree.
Cool beans. Well, I think we've covered everything. So thank you guys so much for joining. I really appreciate you supporting us. And yeah,
If you have any specific questions, feel free to DM Haley or myself,
yep.
and we can try to help or give a link of something that we learned and could help you. So
Yeah, we'll try to include some extra stuff in the show notes. Thank you all for asking these amazing questions and for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye.